The laws of nature were suspended. As the wooden stick floated on the surface, the heavy iron axe head, which by all rights should have been stuck in the mud at the bottom of the river, began to rise. It broke through the surface of the water and floated. Iron floated on water as if it were a piece of cork. Imagine the scene. The stunned silence of the onlookers. The gasp of the man who had lost the axe. His eyes, wide with disbelief and wonder, watched as the very thing he thought was lost forever was now floating right in front of him, within his reach. Elisha looked at the man, his eyes full of kindness, and said, "Lift it out." His instruction was as simple as his initial question. He was inviting the man to participate in his own rescue. With a hand that was likely still shaking, the man reached out and picked up the axe head from the water. He held it in his hand, cold and wet and wonderfully, miraculously solid. It was real. It was returned. His problem was solved. The story ends there. The Bible doesn't tell us what happened next, but we can imagine the relief, the gratitude, the sheer joy that must have flooded the man's heart. We can imagine the or that fell upon the entire company of prophets as they witnessed this quiet miracle. They went back to their work, but with a renewed sense of who their God was. He was not just a God of thunder and lightning on Mount Sinai, not just a God who parted the Red Sea. He was a God who cared about a borrowed axe head. This story is a powerful reminder that there is no problem too small for God's attention. We often categorize our problems. We think, this is a big one, this is worthy of prayer, but this other thing, it's so trivial, I shouldn't bother God with it. We worry about our health, our finances, our families, and we should bring those to God. But what about the daily frustrations? The lost keys? The broken appliance? The forgotten appointment? The feeling of being overwhelmed by 100 tiny things? The story of the floating axe head tells us that God cares about those things too. He sees our personal anxieties and our quiet desperations. The man's cry was, "It was borrowed." He was worried about his responsibility, his integrity, his debt. This was a personal, financial, and social problem all rolled into one. And God, through his prophet Elisha, stepped into that very specific, personal mess. Notice the tenderness of God's response. Elisha's calm demeanor, his simple question, "Where did it fall?" This shows a God who leans in to listen, who wants to know the specifics of our trouble. He doesn't offer a one-size-fits-all solution from a distance. He meets us right where we are, in the middle of our mess.